What is up, people? It is me, Monster50, and welcome back to another video review. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Micronus Prime, the fifth Prime, I believe, made by Primus, and also really got along with Alpha Trion, I think Liege Maximo, as well as Quintus Prime. I think those were the three that he got along with. But obviously, when it comes to Micronus Prime, given his actual name, he is the first Minicon. And this design for this figure really takes a lot of inspiration from, I believe, the Cyberverse iteration of Micronus, the series that technically is the sequel to Transformers Prime and carries that over, and then where Micronus happens to be like Optimus's sort of spiritual guide. And when it comes to Micronus, they did this really, really interestingly, and they did it very cool. Because I was like, how are they going to do Micronus Prime as a deluxe? I think like many other people were asking, but the way that they did this, I'm really, really happy how they did this. And in fact, it reminds me of, and you'll see it when we get into the actual robot or suit mode. It reminds me of the Apex armor from the Transformers Prime series. Now it's not exactly the same, it's not one-to-one at all, but it's really, really cool. And so, taking a look at the box here, you can see the Transformers Age of the Primes. You can see the very nice, the 13 Micronus Prime with his unique symbol. I believe his artifact is the Chimera Stone, right? If I'm not mistaken. You can also see the Transformers, like the 22 steps here. You can also see the very nice artwork here of Micronus with his suit. You can see regular tiny Micronus and the Micronus on his bike, which the suit transforms into. And then you can see the very nice artwork here of the Transformers Primes. And then you can see the very nice more artwork here of Micronus himself. And then on the back, your obligatory product shots as per usual. I think it looks really, really cool. As per usual, I think that the packaging is very, very well done. And so without further ado, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Micronus Prime out of the box and in his little bike alt mode. And I gotta say, this is really, really cool. Now, the instructions realistically have the bike like this, but because it will never ever be able to stand on its own like that, you can bend those down and then you can have him stand like this so that the bike can actually, stand up on its own. But really, really cool, like, application of the actual, bike mode in and of itself. It does look very, very cool. I'm very happy with how it turned out. You can see the huge wheel, which will become the suit's legs. And then everything else is really, really nice. You can see some very nice molded in detail across there. Nothing crazy. You can see some very nice molded in detail there as well. It just looks really, really cool all around. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Micronus himself. So what we're going to do is I'm going to remove him off here, and we're actually going to snap my fingers and have him transform into his actual little alt mode. So alrighty, here he is in his little alt mode. Now, you may be wondering why I'm doing this. Well, the reason I'm doing it like this is because I want them, get both of these alt modes out of the way. But taking a look at Micronus' alt mode, it does look pretty cool. It's just him in a circle, but it does look very nice. And as you can see, when it comes to the colors and everything, like I said, this really takes a lot of inspiration from the Cyberverse iteration and continuity of Micronus Prime. You can see this is where you can store the Chimera Stone. So if we remove this, you can see it's just on a 5mm there. We can see the Chimera Stone. It does look pretty cool. Nothing crazy. It's just, a very nice, cool, turquoise, transparent, circle with a bunch of, like, little details in there, which do look really, really neat. See if we can get the focus. You can see it does look very cool. And then you can see on the center, it's very tiny, but you can see the actual, Micronus Prime symbol on there, which is really cool. But we'll peg that back on there. And what we're going to do is we're going to transform little Micronus here. We're not going to do any comparisons, at least in the alt mode, because there's no point to do any comparisons in this alt mode, because it's just literally like a storage mode anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bike off, and to transform Micronus, all you got to do is flip the legs down like so. Then take the arms, and you can lift them up like this. Rotate the legs forward. Then you can rotate the arms down. You can take the head and you can rotate that around. And here we have Micronus Prime in his robot mode, at least the little version of him, the actual Prime version of him. But taking a look, he does look really cool. And like I said, he really does take advantage of that design from the Transformers Cyberverse continuity. Take a look, you can see the head sculpt is very much reminiscent of that appearance, and it does look really cool. And overall, despite the fact that he is made out of transparent plastic for the most part, I am not really that worried. It seems pretty sturdy and pretty solid enough. And plus, you're more than likely, if you're going to have him in his robot mode, you have him in the suit part, which doesn't really concern any of this major transparent plastic, but he does look good. The details look really, really solid, and he cleans up really well, and he also stands relatively nicely. So what we're going to do when we get into his robot mode is what I'll show you, or his suit robot mode, is we will do size comparisons for both little Micronus, and we will do size comparisons with the suit in. So you guys will get that full spectrum, just so you can see how big he is. Now, obviously, he is about the size of like a cassette transformer, so, you know, like sound like Ravage, like Laserbeak, you know, like Ramhorn, or any of the other ones. So was the other one Eject, right? He's about that size, but we'll show the size comparisons regardless, because it'll be funny to see it, and I think that it warrants that. So overall, when it comes to this, the way that you get him on the bike mode is his hands are 5mm, so you have the handles here. So all you got to do is peg. What I do is peg one arm in. You sort of swing this guy around like so, and then you can take the other arm, and then I like to twist it around, and then you can plug that in like so, and then you can swing him down like this, and then there you can put him on the actual vehicle mode, and then spread the legs out like however you wish you do. Now for his articulation, I know I just showed that, but for his articulation, he's got a full 360 here, full 360 here, head is on the ball joint, or actually, I don't know. Yeah, it's on the ball joint, yeah. Rotation, you can't really look up or down all that much. We can, I guess, look up because of how technically the transfer, I guess, part of the transformation, or, you know, part of it, what are you going to do? No waist, because he is a tiny little guy. Kick forward, you can kick back. 90, a little more than 90 at the knee. Rotation at the knee as well. But for how tiny he is, the articulation is actually pretty solid. And again, overall, I think that they really just did this bike mode like really cool. Like, again, I never thought about like how would they end up doing a how are they going to do Micronus as a deluxe class figure, because, well, he is so small in comparison to his his brethren, that it throws me off that they were going to do him as a deluxe, but they did a really good job. And I think for his vehicle mode, both of his alt modes, I think they did a really good job at being super creative with this, and I'm really happy with it. So what we're going to do is we are going to do our size comparison. So what we're going to do is we are going to move Micronus off to the side here, and we're going to bring in a lot of figures. So everyone get ready. It's going to get pretty dicey here. Alright, first things first, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Infernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. As you can see, these two look really nice together. Obviously, Micronus is an average deluxe size. He's obviously a bit taller, but you can see in his length, he is not as long as Magnus is. But overall, when it comes to the actual size, I have no complaints with how actually big this is, because more than likely you're going to have this guy in his robot suit mode anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Here he is with the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Solus Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Alchemist Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager Class Prima Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Megatronus the Fallen, and soon to be in a review video next week, Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Onyx Prime, and finally the one and only Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime. Alrighty folks, now it's time to get into his transformation. And when it comes to his transformation, it's really cool, but it's also parts for me because of the way that they had to do this. So to transform this guy, what we're going to do is we're going to remove Micronus, and you're going to transform him. So you're going to turn the head around, you're going to sort of twist the legs around, pull the arms down, rotate them around like so, like that, and then you're going to put the legs up like that, and then you're going to squeeze them together like so, and then we're going to take the Chimera Stone and we're going to remove it from his back, and then we're going to set these guys off to the side for now. To do the exosuit part, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the arms, or what will become his arms, and then you're going to lift this up. You are going to take these parts and you're going to unpeg this entire section here. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to do the bottom part, which is this part first. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the wheel, and then you're going to split it. Then you're going to push them down like this on both sides, so you can rotate this around as well. And then actually, well, rotate it like so, and push this down like that. And then what you're going to want to do is you can flip this out and sort of rotate that peg down, rotate this all the way down, then you can flip the peg just to give it some clearance. Then you're going to take this, and you can see that there are two pegs right here. You're going to want to flip that so that it's facing, back. Then from here, you're going to take the feet, and you're just going to fold those up like so. Fold those up like so, and then you basically have your feet ready to roll. Now to do the upper part here, what you're going to do is, it's not really hard at all. You're going to rotate this up, you're going to fan these out, and then you're going to take these sections and fold them down. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to take the head and you're going to fold this out, and then what you'll see is that there's a tab hole right there, and that this will go right into. So you're just going to squeeze that right into place like so. Then you're going to take the leg bits and then you're going to insert them into here. Actually, no, I'm stupid. That's my fault. I forgot that you put the legs in. That's my bad. I've been doing that for the whole time, and of course during the video. You plug this in first right there in that crotch piece. Then you take this and then you snap this into place here in his chest. Once you folded these down like that, then you're going to fold everything in the chest in, and then you're going to take this part, and then you're going to put the Chimera Stone right there in the center so that everything snaps nicely into place like that. There you go. Then you can take this and you're going to see how this folds. You're going to fold this down like that. Then from here, all you got to do is wherever the thumb is facing and this silver part, that's the side. So plug that in on his right side, and then plug this in on his left, our right. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Micronus Prime in his really cool, like, exosuit mode. And I gotta say, guys, when it comes to this mode, it's so unique. Like I told you, I'll put a picture of the Apex armor from Transformers Prime on screen right now, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It just reminds me of that. It's really cool. I don't know, like, their idea of essentially making him sort of like an armorizer, I think that's really, really neat. And so taking a look at the details, you can see the head looks really, really cool. Very simple, but looks really, really cool. You know, sort of a little reminiscent of Micronus's actual face. And then come down here to the chest. It looks really good with the Chimera Stone in the center. That looks pretty cool. See the nice silver here? This looks really, really nice. I'm a big fan of that. And the legs, despite being really stubby, do look real nice. And he does clean up really well. The only issue I really have with this robot mode is primarily, there's two things. One in the articulation, but it's just these bits. I wish, I don't know, these could compress a bit more. Essentially, these look like helicopter rotors, even though they're just the, the parts of the bike mode. I'm just not the biggest fan of how these look on the back, and they get in the way a lot of everything. So that's the sucky part about this robot mode, and there's a little bit of hollowness in the wheels, but overall, given the fact of how this guy transforms, I am okay with that hollowness. It's really not all that bad, especially because this guy feels really solid. He feels solid. He feels, chunky. His joints are really nice and tight. And he doesn't ever feel like he's super loose to where, he's going to tip over or anything like that. So when it comes to this little suit mode, the suit robot mode, I'm quite a big fan of this, and I think it's really, really cool. So when it comes to accessories, by the way, I'll just get that out of the way before we get into the size comparisons. There is none beyond what I've already shown you. And so if you're looking at, like, the timeline, like the sectioned off parts of the video, I'm not going to have an accessory section, just mainly due to the fact that there really aren't any major accessories except for actually Micronus himself. So what we're going to do is we are going to do the size comparisons first with the exosuit or this suit, suit robot mode. And then we are going to do the size comparisons with little Micronus himself. So what we're going to do first is we are going to set this guy off to the side here, and I'm going to zoom out here because all the other characters, I'll tell you this right now, despite Micronus being a nice deluxe size, when it comes to his suit mode, it's funnily enough still smaller than pretty much every other figure that I'm going to show you today, even all the deluxe ones. And so I think that should be enough in terms of the height for the camera, so I hope that is. But setting him off to the side there. First, folks, here he is with the Transformers Legacy United and Fernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus. As you can see, he is a little bit smaller than an average deluxe in terms of his robot mode, just like I had mentioned before. Here he is with Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Solus Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Alchemist Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager Class Prima Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Megatronus the Fallen, Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Onyx Prime, and I cannot wait to review this guy. I love this figure already. And finally, Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime. Alrighty, now that we've done those size comparisons, we are going to remove actual Micronus Prime from the center of the suit, and then we are going to do the size comparisons with him. Alrighty, there is how small the actual Micronus Prime is, but we'll bring in all the figures here. Transformers Legacy United and Fernac Universe Deluxe Class Magnus, Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Solus Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Alchemist Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager Class Prima Prime, Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Megatronus the Fallen, Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class Onyx Prime, and just like before, Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime. Alrighty guys, it's time for his articulation, and this is the other part of his robot mode that I'm not the biggest fan of. He has pretty standard articulation for his robot suit mode, but at the end of the day, there's one big thing missing, and that is a waist joint. As you saw sort of when I was messing around with like the little blades on his back for his vehicle mode, yeah, unfortunately, because of the way that the waist is designed, there is no way of a waist joint. But taking a look here, you can see ball joint here. Well, yeah, it is a ball joint, but it's really hard. You can't really get a full three. I mean, you can, but it's very difficult to get your full 360. But you can. You can look a little bit up and down, and side to side, and everything like that. Arms will do full 360, but again, those little rotors get in the way. They can go out, they can go in. Rotation, the upper part of the bicep, 90 degrees at the elbow. But I believe, which is nice, you actually have wrist articulation, which is really, really neat. For the legs, you can kick forward about that far, back about that far, 90-degree bend, a little more than 90 at the knee, rotation at the upper part of the thigh, and then you do have ankle rocker pivot. So surprisingly, you can get this guy into some good poses. The only thing that's really sucky about him is mainly, like I said, the lack of a waist joint, and that's the other issue I have with this robot mode. But other than that, pretty solid overall. Alrighty guys, now it's time for the reverse transformation, and just like going into his robot mode, suit mode, at the end of the day, there's parts forming here. It's unavoidable, but I'll show you how to do it. So first things first, I like to do straighten them out. What I like to do is remove the arms, and we can set those off to the side for now on either side. Then you can take the chest, and then you can flare this out, and then what I like to do is take the Chimera Stone out of there. Put that off to the side as well. Open this guy up, and well, Micronus just fell out because I guess I didn't have him pegged in there all the way. But transform Micronus, so you just rotate these down and around again. Up like so. Up like so for the other arm. Rotate the head around. Bam. And then we have little Micronus here. Set this guy off to the side for now. Then for this, what you're going to want to do, take the head, fold that down, fold these bits down. Then for this section, what you do is you rotate this up, sort of fold this in, and then you can take the legs and unpeg those. Then you can rotate this section down, and then you're going to leave this section like this for now. Make sure this snaps into place as well, like so. And then we will do this part here. So to do the legs, what you're going to want to do is, I believe, rotate this up. Then you're going to rotate this all the way around, and then you're going to fold the toes in. Oh, that part. Stupid. There you go. Okay. Do that. Then for this side, what you're going to want to do is you're going to fold this peg out and then do the exact same thing. So rotate this around. Then you're going to want to rotate this around, peg that in, and then you're going to rotate this back in. Then you're going to peg these all together, make that a wheel. Then you're going to take this section. You're going to see 4 pegs on both sides, and then you're just going to peg them into these pegs on these little rotor parts. So this is probably the hardest part about the transformation back, but really not too bad. And that, then just do your best to line this all up here as well. Like, come on. Yeah, this I always have trouble on the second part. There you go. Make sure it's all pegged in. Rolls decently well. Then what you're going to want to do is collapse these, and you'll essentially see that there are these little grooves and then these little pegs. They don't peg in there, but at the very least they just sort of sit in there to give it a little more security. Then take each of the arms and then plug them in, and you'll see the way you plug them in is you plug them in where the silver's on the bottom. So this part will go right into that hole right there. Just plug that in like so. Rotate this down. Same thing here. Plug this in there. Rotate this down like so. And then you're going to take the Chimera Stone, you're going to plug it into Micronus's back here, and then what we'll do is we'll put Micronus on here, like that, then rotate this around, plug that hand into there, then you can straighten them out. That. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Micronus Prime back in his bike mode. And so guys, for my final and concluding thoughts on the Transformers Age of the Primes Deluxe Class Micronus Prime, I think the creativity that they had with this figure is really, really cool. The only issues I really have with Micronus is there's 2 in his sort of suit mode, and the major bit is that it kind of really sucks how he has no waist, and those rotor bits on the back really get in the way of his articulation, specifically with his arms. And because of the way the waist is designed right now, waist articulation, I think it just said that, but I'm just doubling down to make sure I get that in the video. But other than that, I think both of the alt modes, his little, disc mode and then his actual, robot mode for his actual little Micronus Prime, himself, looks really, really good. All the details are there, really homages the Cyberverse design. In addition to that, I really do like the bike mode. The creativity with that is just so cool. And despite the fact that you have to parts form to transform him, it's engaging enough to where it's really, really cool. And I do like the actual suit mode. Reminds me of the Apex armor from Transformers Prime. And getting him back into his vehicle mode might be a little bit annoying, but the transformation of how his legs are, how the arms are removed, and then you can put the Chimera Stone in the center of the actual suit part, that is so cool. And then Micronus just stores in the actual chest of the full suit robot mode. It's just really, really cool, really creative, and honestly, he's kind of become my favorite of the 3 deluxes. I think he's cooler than Alchemist. I think he's cooler than Solus. Just really awesome creativity from the Hasbro design team to give us a really awesome member of the 13 primes, and I really, really do love him. And so, if I have to give him a score out of a 10, I'm actually going to give him a 9. I think he's really, really awesome, and I really do like him. And so, I would highly recommend you pick this guy up. He's so unique, and definitely the most unique member of the primes thus far. That'll obviously change when we get to Amalgamus and Quintus, but still looks really, really cool. It's an awesome figure. So I did pick mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store, so leave a link in the description of that. Also leave links down below to Hasbro Pulse, as well as Amazon if you guys wish to pick him up on those retailers instead of Big Bad Toy Store. And I also assume he should be hitting your retailers relatively soon, if not right now. So definitely be on the lookout at your local Walmarts, Targets, any of your local retailers where you get Transformers, and definitely make sure, definitely wish you the best of luck in hunting IRL if you decide to do it that way. And so, I think that's really it. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Also follow me on the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.